Reclaiming Timeless Ways, Mike Traster, Simon Fuller. Glad to have you along with us for another episode. And Mike, today's topic is
dealing with scams and scammers. So this is survival stuff.
Yeah.
Right? There's an old fellow that has since passed on, lived in the area. He was a mechanic once upon a time. He could get suckered. And the older he got, the more fragile he became because his ability to logic things through was overloaded by his ability to be emotionally maneuvered. So at one point somebody came up to him and told him he had won a lottery, but he needed to give them a check of like 10 grand or something to start the processing.
Yeah.
And he did it. And they got away with it, right? And it did him very deep financial harm,
Yeah.
right? So he was vulnerable and hopeful. So if you're vulnerable and hopeful and maybe desperate because you're in a bad circumstance, you are going to be in harm's way, you know.
I see those things and hear about them. In fact, oftentimes, and people are doing it, they're getting more and more creative.
Right.
And they're hiding behind more and more walls, if you will, with the online presence.
Right.
You can, they're able to be more undetected and scam these folks. And a lot of times they are preying on somebody that's a little bit older, primarily because of the technological ability or lack thereof that they have. And they use bait such as, in fact, my wife's grandmother was called on the phone, and thank God she had still some good cognitive ability, because her grandson, my wife's cousin, was supposedly in jail in Cancun. And the grandma thought, well, he is. I know he travels and does some things.
I need
but what
bail
they
money.
do, I need, if you want him out, we need it, and we need it now. Well, let me call his parents. No. If you want this done, and so they try to hook you into that emotional tie of a loved one.
It's now or never.
And it's now or never. Well, she had the wherewithal to chat and ask enough questions to buy enough time for her brain to think before she handed over the account information that really could have been disastrous. And she was on very much a fixed income life. And they could have really blown her up.
Wow.
And but it happens every day in those situations online. People are sending phishing emails, scams. You've won this. I won't pick on you, Dad, if you watch the show, but almost happened to him once on a small scale. They're out there, and they're pretty clever.
Yes.
They're pretty clever, these people.
They are very clever.
And that's the scary part.
Very clever, and they're always, when we were kids, I had a buddy, and we decided to do a phone prank, right? So, and it was harmless, okay, so I'll make that point. So what we did is we pretended to be somebody's nephew.
Okay.
So we just put on the southern drawl. Oh, Aunt Clara? Yeah, who's this? Don't you know? Is this Johnny? Yeah, I'm in town. Where? Right? So we had people going to meet somebody at the burger stand. And we got them to fill in the blanks.
Right.
So there was nothing harmful. They just showed up and Johnny wasn't there and they never knew what happened. So it was a stupid kid prank.
Right.
But if you extrapolate that and you think of how quickly we were as unskilled kids just being turds, right? We were able to maneuver their emotions to get them to picture something as being real when it was pure fiction.
Right.
Harmless fiction, but fiction. So somebody tells you want a big prize. You need a processing fee. No. How? When? Never. Never, never, never.
I'll give you the processing fee after you deliver the prize.
There you go.
I'll have enough then.
Routing number?
Yeah, never.
Never. Never. Address? No. That's your physical safety, right? Social security number?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Credit card number? No. Right? Construction prize. And then they tell you, you won this construction prize, and just click here or do whatever. And now all of a sudden, that prize, we just gave out the last one, but we're going to give you a hell of a deal on new siding. That's a bait and switch. So they hooked you, then they tell you the first prize is gone, but because they feel bad about it or some other nonsense, they're going to give you a world-class deal, which of
Right.
course is no deal at all.
Right.
Right? Or all the money up front for something.
Right.
No, no. Or they tell you, if you don't believe them, that you're hurting their feelings. Gee, I've been working my whole life to help people. You're really hurting my feelings, ma'am. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't call back. You get their number and their business license and address. You can be amazed at how fast their phone connection breaks down.
It's funny because I watch a lot of Seinfeld. I've referenced this in another show, Mike.
Right?
And I always got such a chuckle out of the one episode where Jerry, of course, he gets a phone call and it's from a telemarketer and he's busy doing things with friends.
Right.
And whatever was was said by the telemarketer, I don't know, but he says, "Oh, I'll tell you what. You know what? I am interested, but how about I get your name and number and I'll call you back."
Right.
Oh, you don't like to be called on your home phone? Neither do I. Click.
Right. Bingo.
Now that was kind of a joke on the whole thing, but
Sure.
when you said get their information, I'll call you back.
Right.
I'm busy right now. Please
Ooh.
give me your information. Yeah, see how quick they'll be to give their information, but yet they want you to give yours.
Right.
Probably isn't a two-way street.
Limited one-time offer. No, they're just trying to rush you.
Right.
Make you think they're doing what they call the takeaway. They're going to give you this free hat, right? But it's just for a minute. And it's $1,000 hat. It's a 50-cent hat, right? Fake credit card. So the credit card company contacts you, and then they say, all you got to do is, so on the internet, they send you an email. They got your name and number somehow, or they did it at random, right? And they say, just fill out your account information and we'll update your card, or some other crap, or you get a $50 rebate. No, it's a scam. Your company will never call you and ask you for your information.
Right.
And if you think it's them, but you're not sure, you hang up or disconnect and you contact them. The thing is, they will literally make a counterfeit page that looks identical to
Right,
them.
right.
So that's important. You say, well, this is AT&T. Look, I recognize. No, they copied it, right?
Right.
And they're doing this in Kenya or Moscow or someplace where they're untouchable.
Right.
Amazon, eBay, credit report. So you get a credit report email. Well, just open it up so it says your name and your password, right? Do not use their form. You're giving away your personal information.
Right.
Now somebody's going to maybe find your credit card accounts and drain your accounts,
Right.
right? So none of this stuff, it all looks real. None of it is real. IRS,
Right.
they never contact you and ask you for information.
Right.
Never.
It's interesting, a few shows ago, Mike, we talked about some things that are said that aren't always absolutes.
Right.
And this is another one of those, but I'm going to say it's pretty close to absolutes as it relates to this.
Right.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely.
I mean, it
Yeah,
probably is.
absolutely.
Do a little research. Unfortunately, scammers, unfortunately for the average individual, we talk about this in the show a lot. Be trusting, be loving, be kind,
yeah.
be all those things, but not to a fault.
What did Reagan say to the Russians when they were doing this, I think it was the SALT agreement? He said, trust but verify.
Bingo. And that's
Right.
that's the follow-up is
Right.
don't allow yourself to get caught up because of your goodness, your good personness.
And it's, I will
without
trust
doing that.
you after I verify.
Bingo.
Because I am responsible for my welfare.
Yeah.
Right, you're not, I am.
And the scammers are oftentimes some of the most more clever, friendly, social, outgoing
Oh,
individuals
easygoing,
to
manna.
get that hook. They know how to play on your emotion and your weakness. And then boom, before you realize what's happened, they got what they need and
when that guy Bernie Madoff, who passed away, I think a year ago, he scammed people out of $40 billion, right? And everybody said the same thing about him. He was so easygoing. There was never any pressure. He was the calmest, most non-threatening, reassuring, trustful. He was like your old uncle.
Yeah,
He had it down.
yeah.
$40 billion.
Trust, but verify.
Verify, right. So that's that one.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Reclaiming Timeless Ways. Until next time, we wish you a wonderful day.
Take care.